Good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Simons. I'm the Superintendent of Schools for the East Greenbush Central School District, and I'm joined this evening by our high school principal, Mike Harkin, our middle school principal, Jill Barker, Mark Adam, our public information specialist, and Peter Goodwin, our director of technology. We wanted to provide an opportunity for you to hear directly from administration regarding the plans for the 8th grade elevation celebration and our high school commencement ceremony. Last week, the governor and the New York State Department of Health reduced restrictions on end of the year celebrations. That decision gave us an opportunity to evaluate our planned graduation ceremony and our elevation celebration. We put a lot of work in on Thursday and Friday to determine that we could provide a full ceremony in both cases so that our 8th graders who are transitioning to high school and our graduating seniors in the class of 2021 could celebrate the completion of their academic accomplishments together as one community. We're grateful that the state has provided us with an interpretation of the guidelines that will enable us to bring the entire classes together. And we want to provide an opportunity to explain how the ceremony will work, as logistically the plans for entering into the stadium area, parking within the stadium area, as well as the ability for everyone to celebrate safely is critically important for all that participate. So I'm going to take just a few minutes to explain some of the aspects of the guidelines that have changed, as well as some of the procedures that we're going to have to follow in order to ensure that we celebrate the accomplishments of our students as safely as possible. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to check in with Mrs. Barker. Can you see my presentation?
I can. There is I don't know if anybody else is seeing this, but this says the meeting is being recorded is over the top of your presentation.
Okay, I do not see that.
Maybe you hit continue, it would go away. I'm not sure, but that is in front of your first page.
So I'm going to let Mr. Goodwin see what he can do about that. I don't see that on my screen currently. So this is an opportunity to discuss the plans for Columbia High School's graduation and the 8th grade elevation celebration. As I indicated earlier, New York State changed the guidelines to permit outdoor gatherings without any considerations for social distancing, capacity limitations, temperature checks, or even disinfecting and cleaning. That has enabled us to evaluate the physical capacity of our Columbia High School field and the stadium area, including the grandstand, to make an assessment of the availability of parking for all of the participants, and to put together one ceremony for our entire senior class, as well as our 8th graders who will be moving into the high school. Under the new guidelines, fully vaccinated individuals will not be required to wear masks during the ceremony. However, the guidelines do specify that masks are still required for unvaccinated individuals. However, schools are not responsible for our outdoor ceremonies to assess the vaccination status of the attendees. So we are on an honor system as far as being able to determine who is vaccinated and who is not vaccinated. But we would expect cooperation and support for those individuals who are attending the ceremony who are not at this time vaccinated to please wear the masks. Our plans have been submitted to the Questar 3 BOCES, Health, Safety, and Risk Management, as well as Rensselaer County Department of Health. The Columbia graduation is scheduled for Friday, June 25th from 4 to 5:30 at the Columbia High School turf field. We are monitoring the weather forecast, and the weather for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday of this week looks perfect. The temperatures will not be as high as they are today, and we are not anticipating any rain. The Goff elevation celebration will come first on Thursday, June 24th from 4 to 5:30. And we are using the same setup that we will use for the high school graduation with the Goff elevation celebration. And again, bringing all of our 8th graders and their families and guests together. Each student may be joined by up to 4 guests. That we needed to, again, assess the full capacity of the number of attendees and spectators that would physically fit at the stadium. And therefore, we were able to ensure that we can do it. We can conduct an appropriate ceremony, but we do need to continue to limit the number of guests. We are asking all of our families to cooperate because we have limited parking, although we have identified additional parking arrangements. We would prefer that each student participating in the ceremony and their families come in one vehicle. We know in some cases that may present challenges to you, but if we have more cars than anticipated on Luther Road, onto the campus of Columbia High School, or even in our extra parking and overflow parking areas, we could have a potential congestion of traffic, and it could lead to delays in the ceremony or potential safety issues. So we ask you to limit, everyone to limit how they come to the ceremony, and if at all possible, come in one car. We will have the campus closed in both cases till 3 p.m. That will enable us to complete the organization of the ceremony and avoid situations where people are parking in areas where we are going to have to stage the parking in order to make sure everyone can get in. The parking staff will be guiding parking and directing you to park in certain places. And so we cannot permit people to come early, take up parking spaces in ways that are not conducive to the plan we have to fit all of the cars in safely. Students will be dropped off in front of the main lobby of the high school in the circle. And then families should defer to our staff. We will have monitors, security, law enforcement, and some of our transportation staff all on site directing you where to park. And we ask for your cooperation and your courtesy as we all work together to make this a wonderful celebration of our students. There will be supplemental parking that we have made arrangements for in the East Greenbush Tech Park that is located on 30 Technology Drive in East Greenbush. We will have shuttle buses available to take anyone who wants to park at the Tech Park to the stadium. We are encouraging people to take advantage of that option. That will relieve some of the concerns that we have about congested parking. School staff, again, will be on site to assist. Anyone riding the shuttle bus, it's a very short ride. We ask that conducive and consistent with the CDC guidelines for mass transportation, that individuals riding the bus wear a mask. It's a short trip, and we ask that you comply with the CDC guidance. Additionally, we will have police officers both on campus as well as on Luther Road directing traffic. Rain is not in the forecast, but in the event that we do have inclement weather, the graduation ceremony will be moved to Saturday morning from 9 to 10:30. The Goff elevation celebration would be moved from Thursday evening to Friday morning from 9 to 10:30. But again, we are anticipating good weather. In the event that we do need to make any type of change, please monitor communications that will come from the district, either via email or text alert, as we have throughout the last couple of years. At this point, I'm going to ask Mrs. Barker, our middle school principal, to share some information about the details of the 8th grade elevation ceremony.
Thank you, Mr. Simons. I'm looking forward to celebrating with all of our parents and our 8th graders on Thursday. It's going to be an exciting event, having everybody together in one place at one time. So a little bit about what we're going to be doing with Goff Middle School. We are planning on, as Mr. Simons says, Thursday at 4 p.m., celebrating all of our 8th graders. Just so you know, and I sent a letter out to all of our parents today, so many of you may have already received this information, but Starting today, during 8th period, today we had all of our 8th graders come down to the gymnasium and we explained to them the process in which they will follow on Thursday. And I'm going to share with you the information that I shared with them. Let me share my screen here. Hold on, I apologize. Get that up and running.
So Jill, just tell me to click the slides and I'll advance it.
Okay. So if you go to the first slide, the next slide shows you where we're going to be seating students at the Columbia turf field. As you can see, the stage will be facing the bleachers, and this is going to be the same setup for the high school. Mr. Harkin will talk specifically about the high school. But as you can see in the far left corner, as you see an A and a B arrow, parents are going to be entering in the A entrance. And so it's closest to the parking lot. We're going to expect that parents will, at that point, leave their child, and the child will go to the far side where the B arrow is, and that's where our students are going to be entering the field, and they're going to be coming into the field, and they're going to be finding their seat. Today, during our meeting, which we had with our A-Day students, we'll have the same meeting with our B-Day students tomorrow, as well as our remote students, is we talked to the students today about how they'll enter into the field and how they'll find their seat. Today, each student received their row number and their seat number. So they were told what side of the field that they'll be sitting on. If they're 1 through 25, they'll be on the right side facing the stage, and if they're 26 through 50, they'll be on the left side of the stage. So students were given that card. They took that card home as a reminder of where they're going to be seated. When they come into the field that day on Thursday, they're going to come in and they're just going to find their seat. We're not going to process in like the high school is, and so the students are just going to come in and find their seat. When they exit, when they're told how they're going to enter the stage, they're going to be able to come up, and they've been showed the flow of direction and how they're going to enter the stage and exit the stage, and then they've been told the process, and when they come back down, how they'll stand and then be seated. So they know the protocol for that. As far as parents are concerned, you have two options. You can sit in the bleachers, and you can also sit in chairs behind the stage, and there are seating for parents right behind the student seating, and they're going to be directly behind, and they're going to be fan out on the right or left. So parents do have options on where they'd like to sit to see their student graduate. There's no need to worry about seeing your student, as there's two large jumbotron screens, so you'll be able to see your students no matter where you're sitting. Again, if your students are sitting 1 through 25, you might want to be to the right. If your student is sitting 26 through 50, you might want to sit to the left. Students are all getting their picture taken as they enter. Once they receive their certificate, they're going to come down the other side of the stage. There's going to be an X marked on the field. There's going to be a life touch photographer there, and they're going to get their photo taken, and then they're going to go back to their seat. And here's just a picture of the seating. You can see that where the students are the front rows, and then there's parents on the far back and to the right and left. And that's where you can see there's your options for seating. And then the white is where the bleachers are, where parents can sit there as well. Here's just a draft of what the ceremony is going to look like. We're going to do the national anthem, which is going to be performed by a select group of students in 8th grade to sing it. We'll have our Pledge of Allegiance, then our national anthem, and then I'll be doing an opening remark, and then we're going to have a speech by our Student Council President, Madeline Elliott, and then we're going to be acknowledging our class board, and then we're going to do the presentations of the certificates. And then students were told how they will exit out. I believe there's a slide that shows how students will exit the field. Is that included in the next slide, Mr. Simons? This is just showing how they're going to enter the stage. You go to the right, you're going to enter the stage on the right, and you're going to come off the left and head back to your seat. We went through that with the students today. So how they enter and exit the stage. When the ceremony is over, they're going to exit to the right. All students exit to the right and go around the back of the truck, and they'll exit out the B entrance. I'm sorry, the A entrance where the parents came in. You can see that.
Thank you, Mrs. Barker. I'm going to ask Mr. Harkin to explain a little bit about the high school ceremony.
So the high school ceremony is a little bit different. We're going to ask parents to drop their students off at the front door like they do in the morning. You'll come right up to the bus loop, drop your student at the front door, your graduate at the front door, and then the monitors will direct you to the parking lot where you'll be going. You will be brought to a parking lot, and you'll be assigned a spot, so we'll help you and assist you in all of that. Like Mr. Simon said, we also have golf carts available for anybody who might need help getting from their car into the stadium. So we'll have some passenger golf carts like you see at the airport that will shuttle people from the parking lot down to the field, and that will also be available for Goffs. We ask that all students be there by 3:15. So we're opening the campus at 3, and just like a normal morning, we're open from 7 to 7:15, and we get 1,200 students in a 15-minute window. We're very confident that we can get the 340 graduates in time to get our graduation going. The seniors will then line up on the side of the building, and they will come down and they will process into the stadium. They will come right across the track in front of the bleachers and down the center aisle, and they will take their seats. Very similar to what you may have seen in the past at Hudson Valley. They will come in, they will take their seats. We will start our traditional graduation agenda. There'll be opening remarks by myself, and then we will hear from our valedictorian, our salutatorian, our class president, and our student council president. And then we will begin with the awarding of diplomas. And just like our previous graduations, once that's concluded, our students will then process back out and they will meet their parents in the parking lot. Again, we are very excited to have this opportunity. We are also offering pictures. There'll be a picture of your student as they receive their diploma on stage, and then again off stage. And both of those are complimentary of the district. So you'll be getting those sent to you in a few weeks. So there's no need to get out of your seat to move towards the stage. We ask that everyone remain seated. We also have the Jumbotron so that you'll be able to see your student walk across the stage. So we're hoping that people will be able to stay in their seat and enjoy the ceremony. And we're really excited. This is a great opportunity for the students. This is really, the more we did this and work together, it's about the kids. So we want to make sure that they're the ones that are in the spotlight during this event. So we're asking everyone's cooperation to arrive right at 3 o'clock, drop your student off, park where you're directed, come in and enjoy our graduation. We're excited to have our 81st commencement ceremony at our own school. So we look forward to seeing everyone Friday evening and have a great ceremony.
So thank you to Mrs. Barker and Mr. Harkin. I want to also extend my appreciation to all of the families for the support that you provided your students this year. At this time, I'm going to ask Mr. Adam to post some questions through the thought exchange. And if there are any questions or concerns out there, we will help to address those. And we hope to have a very successful ceremony in both the case of the 8th grade elevation celebration and our graduation.
Thank you, Mr. Simons. So at this time, I will share my screen. Let's see. Mr. Simons, do you see the thought exchange up there with the 9-digit code?
I do.
Great. All right, so we've done this many times before, but we're going to run this Q&A through Thought Exchange. That way we can bring the most top-of-mind questions to our administrators. To join, you will visit tejoin.com and then type in the 9-digit code you see on your screen. And the question is, what questions or concerns do you have about our plans for Columbia graduation and Goff elevation celebration? So I have 2 minutes on the timer here. I will start that and give you an opportunity to formulate any questions you have. And while that is running, I will just also mention that we will be live streaming both of these events, Goff elevation celebration and Columbia graduation. So if you have family members or friends who cannot attend the event, that will be live streamed. Everyone can just go to www.egcsd.org, our school district website, and the live stream will be available there. We will also be putting together full videos of each of the events to include all of the speeches and the awarding of certificates and diplomas, and that will be available in the week following graduation and elevation celebration. So there's about a minute left on the timer. You can enter your questions you have about these events at tejoin.com and enter that 9-digit code. And the question is, what questions or concerns do you have about our plans for Columbia graduation and Goff elevation celebration? All right, at this time, we will start addressing your questions. I will keep the thought exchange open just in case you have another question that pops up or you haven't had a chance to enter that. And we will address these one at a time. Will graduation be presented in alphabetical order?
Yes,
Yes.
with the exception of our four speakers who were traditionally in the first row of it. So our Val and Sal and our both presidents will be there, but then after that, it will be alphabetical.
Same with Goff.
All right. Next question, can students and families stay after the ceremony for pictures?
In general, yes, but we would ask people to do that as quickly as possible so that we can stage the traffic out of the high school. I would also encourage people, if you wanted to take photos, you could go to other locations such as the town park or other areas if you wanted to spend more time taking photos. But, you can take a photo, but we would ask people to move along as expeditiously as possible. Mr. Harkin, anything to add on that? Mrs. Barker?
No, same thing. Unfortunately, we can't use the stage or make use of the stage for photos or a backdrop after it because it's not our property and they will be breaking it down, preparing it for storage for overnight. So we do ask that if they could move off of the turf fields after that, it would help us out.
Thank you.
And just to add on to that, I know many families in the past have gone to their former elementary schools to take pictures there as well.
That was very popular last year. A lot of students did that.
How are we being seated?
It's generally first come, first serve. The students have assigned seating. There is seating available on the field. And again, as Mrs. Barker said, the seating is arranged in such a way that you can see the stage and you can see the Jumbotron screens. The stadium is also, the grandstand is also available for seating and also has a nice view of the stage, which is located right on the 50-yard line, and the Jumbotron screen should provide more than enough visibility to be able to see every single graduate receive their diploma. So it's first come, first serve, based on when you enter into the designated gates that adults are supposed to enter into, and the students would be processing in a different gate.
Just to add on to that question, will there be assistance with seating to ensure maximum capacity is filled? And perhaps, Mr. Harkin, you could just mention, will there be ushers and school staff inside the stadium?
So we'll have ushers inside the stadium to help you sit down like we do over in Hudson Valley. They'll be able to point out seats, how many seats are in a row. The rows are 25. So you should be able to see a seat. If not, we'll have an usher there to help people to move in. We'll also have parking attendants that will help direct you to your parking spot. People shuttling you from the parking spots to the stadium. So we'll have people there to assist you at all times. We'll also have medical personnel on hand. We'll be distributing water in case it's a hot evening. So we're trying to anticipate things to help make sure that everybody can come in smoothly and enjoy the event.
Next question, can family leave once their child is announced?
No, we prefer that you not do that out of respect for all of the graduates. We want to make sure that everyone remains seated, participates fully in the ceremony, and that everyone has an opportunity to see all of the class graduate. So we prefer that everyone stay for the full conclusion of the ceremony.
And prior to the pandemic, people had felt that the graduation was too long. So we have reduced speeches to 5 minutes or less. And then we announce names. So we don't anticipate this going over 90 minutes. We think that we can do all of this in the time that we allotted. So we're not asking people for a 2 or 3 hour commitment. We're asking for an hour and a half. So I agree with Mr. Simon. We'd really like you to stay and enjoy the entire ceremony.
For the Goff ceremony, we have the recording of the ceremony and our teachers' speeches are on the video. They will not be doing the speeches in person in an effort to keep the time of the ceremony down.
Same thing for the high school.
Another question about seating. Will they be reserved in pods of 4 for each graduate, or can you sit anywhere?
No, the seats will not be reserved. We're not doing the pods of 4 like we originally planned. It's rows of 25 on the field. There's 1,200 seats on the field, and then we have another 1,200 seats in the bleachers. So it's an open seating.
Mr. Simons, you addressed this already, but can we go up to the stage to take pictures? Or perhaps it was you, Mr. Harkin, and said we'd ask that everyone stay in their seats throughout the ceremony. We'll have multiple photographers there to get photos.
There'll be a photo as you cross the stage and receive your diploma. There'll also be, like Mrs. Barker mentioned, just off stage, there'll be a setup and there'll be a picture taken there. We cannot go on the stage. The stage is not ours, and we have people there that are going to assist us with that and the setup and the care of the stage. We can't have any excess people on the stage.
Is it permissible for one guest to walk over to Columbia if they cannot be there right at 3 p.m.?
Yeah, the 3 p.m. is the parking lot is not going to be open until 3 p.m. But
Correct.
you can come in any time between 3 and 4 o'clock. We're just not permitting people to get in early and park randomly. We need to control the flow of the parking. So if you parked at the YMCA, which is available for parking to some degree, and you walked into the ceremony, as long as you're there, anytime between 3 and 4, and are able to find a seat, you should be fine. Mr. Harkin, could you repeat the number of seats again? I think there's going to be more than adequate seating.
Yes, we anticipate having plenty of seating. So right now we have about 350 graduates with 4 people per graduate, puts us right around the 1,400 mark. So we have 1,250 seats on the stadium floor, the seats on the turf, and then we have another 1,246 in the bleachers. And there's an additional spot for 14 wheelchairs on the bleachers. And we can also put additional wheelchairs on the track if need be. We feel with the Jumbotron and the proximity to the stage, there really isn't a bad seat in the house. So we don't anticipate there being an issue with seating. The problem that we were saying is the parking is our biggest concern. The campus will be closed at 3 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, we will open it, allow you to come in, drop your student off, and begin to park. It's very important that everyone tries to come in one car. If we start to do that, if we start to have, families show up in 2 cars and the student drive themselves, we may have an issue with parking, and we don't want it to start late or not allow someone to get in because the parking lot is full because people are using 3 or 4 cars to come as a family.
Will there be handicap parking?
Yes, we plan to use the lot nearest the tennis courts, right next to the entrance to the stadium, as a strictly handicap spots. So as you come in, there'll be Mr. Klum, who you see in the morning when you come in now. You can just point to your handicap placard. He'll allow you to take a right-hand turn into that lot and park right next to the track. We anticipate having plenty of handicap parking.
We also have people designated to assist any individuals who need assistance, really from anywhere on the campus. We've leased additional golf carts. We'll have 6 golf carts available if you need to be transported from one of the further parking lots. We'll have individuals who can assist you to some of the handicapped seating that is available, and we'll have more than enough folks to help everyone enter comfortably and find a nice seat.
Next question, do we need to bring our own chairs?
No need to bring any chairs. In fact, we prefer that no one bring chairs. We're all set, and we'll have the setup ready for Thursday evening. There's really no need to bring any additional chairs.
The announcement said you expect Columbia's ceremony to last 90 minutes. That doesn't seem feasible. Please advise.
There are no adult speakers. So for example, your long-winded superintendent will not be speaking on Thursday or Friday. There are only student speeches and the awarding of diplomas. Mr. Harkin, anything to add?
That's exactly correct.
Will the 8th graders need to wear masks during the ceremony?
Under the guidelines for outdoor ceremonies, masks are not required for vaccinated individuals, and that would include students and attendees. We envision that unvaccinated students, once seated, could take their masks off. Similar to what is done in a restaurant for unvaccinated individuals. Vaccinated individuals do not need to even bring their masks.
What time should 8th graders start to arrive?
Mrs. Barker?
In my letter to parents, I said arrival at 3:15. It's likely that the parking lot will be open at 3 o'clock. For those who want to come before then, I'm sure that we will allow you to be there, come in at 3 o'clock, but I had said 3:15 in the letter that I sent out to parents. So anytime between 3 and 3:15, you can plan to arrive.
And our last question, what is the dress code for elevation celebration and for graduation?
So for Goff Middle School, what I told the students today, and I'll tell the other group tomorrow, is that we look for them to wear something nice. We're not looking for shorts or t-shirts, but something they would wear to a nice dinner. I've also mentioned to the female students that to be careful about what shoes they wear, because it could be tricky walking up the steps onto the stage and then back down again, and also the turf, the heels can get caught in the turf. So I've asked them just be careful what type of shoes that they wear so they're safe.
The same thing goes for the graduation. They have their cap and gown, so we ask them to wear something comfortable and appropriate underneath it. And again, footwear is important. The seniors will be marching from the school down to the field, and then, as Mrs. Barker said, up the ramp to the stage and down the ramp. And I have warned a lot of the students and the girls that high heels will get caught up in the turf, so they should wear comfortable shoes so that they can maneuver themselves around.
Mr. Harkin, just another question here. Do the high school students know where they will be sitting?
When they get there, they'll come into the gym. We're thinking about the gym now. We planned originally the library, but because we're graduating as a large group, it'll be the gym, and there'll be a setup exactly like the field. So they'll be able to see where they're sitting. They'll get their card. They'll have one more opportunity to review the name with the person they'll be announcing their name, so that their name is pronounced correctly, and they will know exactly where they're sitting. They won't know prior to that, but they will know when they get there. I'm sure they could text their parent, whether they're on the left or the right, and most of our students will be carrying their phones.
All right, thank you. That's it for our questions.
Oh, in conclusion, if you have any questions or concerns between now and Thursday evening, if you're a parent of an 8th grader, or between now and Friday, if you are the parent of one of our graduating class of 2021 members, please email either Mr. Harkin, Mrs. Barker, or myself, and we will try to answer your questions. If you have neighbors and friends that are planning to attend either one of these ceremonies, if you could spread the word regarding some of the information that has been shared this evening, as well as the information that was sent home via email last Friday, and the middle school information was sent home today, and the students have been are being oriented to how the ceremony is going to work. So in closing, this is a great opportunity for our kids and our families to come together during what has been at the end of what has been a very, very challenging year. We appreciate everything that all of you have done to support your students and their success and to support us this year. We're very encouraged that we're able to do this, but we need everyone's cooperation and in order to make sure that our ceremonies go smoothly on Thursday and on Friday, respectively. I wish everybody success at this celebration, and I will see everybody Thursday evening and Friday evening as we celebrate the accomplishments of our great students. Thank you very much for those who joined us this evening, and have a good evening. Thank you.